Hi kids, it's me, Monsieur Antoine, and it's time for a new week of video art lessons. And you may have noticed I called myself Monsieur Antoine. That is French for Mr. Tony. And I'm calling myself Monsieur Antoine because this week in school, our country is France. We're going to be doing things in art and music and in your classrooms, in your classes about France. And you'll notice here, I have the art introduction, the three letters ART in three colors, red, white, and blue, which are the colors of our flag, the flag of the United States, but they are also the colors of the French flag, red, white, and blue. Okay, and you'll notice, if you look closely, I gave them a bit of texture. Okay, with the red, I didn't have to do anything with the R, because it's already white, but I gave a little texture with my crayons to the A and the T. And that gives it kind of an impressionist look. And that's a style of art, a style of painting that was made famous by many French artists. Okay, and that's what we're going to do today. A little flag in a French impressionist style. And we have a dog that's barking. I hope that doesn't distract you, because it seems like today he's not going to stop barking. So it's going to distract me though. Okay, before we begin our flag, let's look at where France is. Okay, here we are, New Jersey. And if you go across the ocean, across the Atlantic Ocean, you'll see Spain. We did Spain before, but right above it here is the country of France. Okay, and those are the color of the French flag, red, white, and blue. Okay, and that's what we're going to do. It's very simple. It's much simpler than the American flag, which has 13 stars and stripes, or 13 stripes, red and white stripes, and then a whole bunch of stars on a field of blue. But France is just three colors in three sections, 1, 2, 3. And what I want you to do is get paper, if you're going to work along with me, get some paper, and you're going to have to tear it in half. I'm going to demonstrate that. Okay, so it'll be a little smaller, a little easier to work on. Okay, I folded it in half first. Okay, and if you fold it really good, give it a really tight crease, like that, then you can tear it. I am going to give it a really tight crease. I think I did this before. I showed you how to do this. Okay, you gotta give it a really tight fold, and then you can just tear it and start it. And tear it right along that fold. Oops. But you gotta really fold it tight. Or you can just fold it, and if you have scissors, you can cut right along that fold. Okay, so that gives you half a sheet. See, you have two sheets now. Two equal sheets, two pieces, and you're going to use just half. Okay, because otherwise the flag would be a lot of work. So we're just going to use half a sheet. Now I have to divide it into three sections. I could measure it with a ruler, but that would be kind of hard. So what I'm doing is I'm just roughly figuring that 4 of my fingers can go into this 3 times, like this. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so one section is going to be about as wide as 4 of my fingers, and I made a little mark right there. And then again, another 4 fingers, and I got a little mark right here. Can't see it now. There it is. Okay, and then I'm just going to draw a line straight up and down. I have to turn it my way so I can see it a little better. It's hard to see on an angle. Just lightly, so I know where my 3 sections are. 1, 2, 3. 3 equal sections, just about. Not bad, close enough. If I want to, I could fuss with it a little bit. Or if I wanted to get it really perfect, I would measure it. You may want to have someone at home help you with that. So you have 3 even sections. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now for the color and the impressionist coloring that we're going to do. Let's start with this section all the way to the right. That's going to be the red section. And what I'm going to do is just take my red color, and rather than going back and forth like that, I'm going to make like little dabs of color like this. Not dots, but little dabs. I have to hold my paper just so you can see it. Like that. And I'll just keep going until it's all filled in, mostly. You see, it was a good idea that I tore it in half, because imagine if I was doing a flag twice this size. It would take much longer. Hold it there. There. And just keep going. I want it filled in pretty good. If I don't fill it in enough, it's not going to look like a solid rectangle of red. The easiest way to do a French flag would be just to cut out a couple rectangles, a rectangle of red and a rectangle of blue, and put it on a white piece of paper, and there you go. Easy French flag. But since we're going to be learning about France and we're going to be learning about Impressionism, I wanted to demonstrate a little Impressionist technique. And technique is the way I'm using my crayon. And I'm doing it with little dabs of color. Now, Impressionists would usually use paint. Sometimes they would use pastel, which is kind of like crayon. But I'm going to assume you may not have pastel there at home. And I'm hoping you have crayon, so you can do the same kind of thing with the crayon. Little dabs of color. Like that. There you go. And you can take a second color, which is close to red. This is red violet. Maybe you could put a little bit of that in there to make it a little more interesting. Not too much, though. We don't want it to look purple. Maybe just a little here and there. And the dog stopped barking. I think he got used to me. I think he knew it was just the neighbor talking. There. Okay, that's the red side. And then in the center, it's going to be white. And over here, it's going to be blue. And I'm going to do the same thing with my blue. Little dabs of blue. I'll hold my paper down here. Try to get in a little closer. And see, that gives it a nice texture. Makes it a little more interesting than just a solid blue and a solid red, which you could do with construction paper. But anytime I do something like this with solid colors, I like to make it in an interesting way. Sometimes I'll use tissue paper and glue. I think I've done that before with you kids. Other times I've used little pieces of paper and made it into something like a mosaic. I believe I did a mosaic lesson earlier in the spring. And you put little pieces of paper together. Like I could use little blue squares and put those together to make a blue section. And it makes it a little more interesting than just a plain flag. But if I were to show this to someone who knew a little bit about countries of the world and the different flags of the world, they would look at that and say, ah, that's a French flag. Because that's all there is to a French flag: red, white, and blue. 3 sections, just like that. And the little bit of texture I'm doing here makes it a little bit artistic and a little bit like French Impressionism, which we're going to learn about tomorrow. I think we've done French Impressionism in school. Some of you older kids, maybe not you little guys, but you older ones may have done landscape paintings where I showed you how to do impressionism with little dabs of color. I think we did that in the fall, in the autumn time of year, when the leaves were turning different color. They did little landscape paintings with trees, with all those nice autumn colors, but it was done in an impressionist style with dabs of color. Okay, like that. There, that's pretty nice. Maybe I'll take a little bit of another blue. This is a aqua blue. It's a blue-green. Maybe just a little bit of that to give it a little more texture. Make it a little bit more interesting. Here and there. Make sure I fill in my whole rectangle. Even though it's dots of color, it looks kind of like a solid rectangle if I fill it in enough, right? Maybe I need to do that with the red too along the edge there. Needs a little bit more of an edge. Do it so you can see the crayon. Oops, I went outside of the rectangle there. That's okay. Gives it a little bit of a rough edge. I like rough edges in art. I like art that's very neat too. There's all different kinds of art. Impressionism is kind of a fuzzy art. They were the first ones to do this style of painting where everything's a little soft and a little bit fuzzy. I think before them, artists, if they were doing a painting of a tree, it would be very neat and you could see all the leaves. Maybe not each and every leaf, but it would be pretty neatly done. And then the Impressionists just started doing kind of fuzzy dabs of color. And that's why they call it Impressionism, because it's not like a photograph. You just get an impression of the picture. Okay, so that's it for today. Our French flag and our first bit of art for our week of French art lessons. Okay, from Monsieur Antoine. Antoine's my name in French. My full name, Anthony. Actually, Anthony is spoken in a lot of different languages. In English, it's Anthony. In Spanish, it's Antonio. In German, or not German, Russian, I believe it's Anton. And in French, it's Antoine. So I am Monsieur Antoine. Okay, and that's it for today. I hope you were able to do it. All you needed was a crayon and some paper. Okay, and that's pretty much what we're going to be doing all week, just coloring with crayons. One day we're going to be doing something with just pencil, just drawing. So hopefully you'll have a pencil if you want to work along. But if you weren't able to work along, you could, as always, just watch and learn. Okay, so that's it. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.